Hey guys, Rhett here. What is going on? Thanks for watching. I wanted to talk to you guys today about leverage. And we are in a crazy time where you can take on debt for anything and everything. You go on Robinhood, you can trade with leverage in your stock account. You can go on Coinbase for cryptocurrency. You can trade with leverage and trade on margin. Which is what that is. You can buy something online and you can make payments over 12 months or 24 months. You can go on your Credit Karma account on your phone to check your credit score, and you can apply for 6 credit cards in 8 minutes. It's amazing how easy it is to get debt. And the reason it's easy is because those companies want you to get it. They're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars trying to get you to take on debt. And they're doing that because the debt that they offer, credit card companies, companies that assist with purchases, they're targeting people that can't afford the leverage. So you get a 0% APR credit card. This is one of my favorite ones. Not really favorite, but I'm being facetious. One of my favorite ones here is the 0% APR credit card that's being offered to you for 12 months or 18 months with no interest. So you take the credit card, it's got a $20,000 limit, you spend $18,000 you don't have, and you don't pay any interest on it. So you try and make the payments, but in reality, because you can't afford it in the first place, you never catch up on the payments, and then after 12 or 18 months, you're paying 24.9% interest and you never get out of it. The credit card companies know this. It's awful debt. It's the worst debt you could possibly take on. It's high interest, unsecured debt. So unsecured debt is debt that isn't backed by an asset. Very polar opposite to a home purchase, which is good debt, depending on what kind of loan you get. Hard money, not good debt. Long-term 30-year fixed rate loan at a competitive rate on an asset where you're putting down money, you're putting down a down payment, so you have more equity in the asset that is being secured by the debt. That's good debt. And let me explain to you what I mean there if I kind of rush through that a little. But when you buy a property and you finance it over 30 years at a fixed rate, you know what your payment's going to be over the next 30 years. You know exactly every single payment from month 1 to the last month of that 30-year payment plan. You can look and see exactly what those payments are going to be. They're going to be the exact same. When you put down money towards a home purchase, you put down 15%, 20%, 25%. You're now building an equity that you own in that house. So if a house is worth $100,000, you put down 20%, you're getting a loan for $80,000. So at all times, if you need to sell that house, you can erase that mortgage. Even if the value of the house drops 10%, 15%, you can sell that house for $85,000, $90,000, $95,000 and pay off that note of $80,000. That's why it's so important to make sure that we always have equity in properties. And long-term fixed rate debt that's secured by an asset where we have equity down, the rate of success on that kind of property is extremely high. The rate of success on short-term fix and flip loans or short-term high-interest credit cards is not very high. And the reason is, a lot of times when you're taking on that kind of debt, it's for a reason. It's because you can't pay for it in cash. Now, there is the corner case, which is the person that likes to use credit cards, who has plenty of money, who takes on that 0% APR credit card, or they want the points, they put it on a credit card, and then they pay it off shortly thereafter. But that person is unique, and that person usually doesn't come along very often. So if you're that person, I'm not talking to you. Now, still, in this industry, I don't care what is happening. I don't care who you listen to. I don't care who you talk to. I don't care what year it is, because the narrative on this changes like crazy. And as of the last 2 years, it has been astronomically in favor of taking on as much leverage and debt as possible, to the point where people are obsessed with trying to do things without their own money. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, actually. Studies have found that the highest rate of foreclosed loans are properties where investors have less than 8% invested in the property, or put down less than 8% on the property. Because usually if you don't have the money to put down on a house, you're usually buying too much house than you can afford. If you can't afford to put down 10% or 15% or 20%. It's why for investment loans, most lenders are going to make you put down 15, 20%. It's why when clients call me and say, hey, I want to use a loan, and I'll say I'm living there so I can put down 5% or 10%. Not only is it mortgage fraud, but usually you can't afford the investment property. So it's always good to have some equity in your properties. Now, the narrative has changed pretty dramatically to doing everything using other people's money. And that is okay to a point, and I'll tell you what I mean. So for a lot of my clients who use the BRRRR method, and we do the BRRRR method like nobody else does, what we do is we'll buy a property in cash for $30,000. We'll put $70,000 into it. We'll add bathrooms. We'll add bedrooms. We'll make it an incredible value add. We'll do new HVACs, new water heaters, new floors, new roofs, new everything, new kitchens, you name it, new flooring. And then at the end of that, the house might be worth $120,000, $130,000, $140,000. So we can add between 20 and 40% in forced appreciation over a short time period. If we go to a lender and do a cash out refinance, and we get more money than we put into that property, executing the BRRRR method to perfection, the debt is still going to be secured by an asset that is valued higher than the loan you got. So if we do that model and we're into a property for $100,000 in cash, right? We buy for 30, we rehab for 70. We go to a lender, the lender appraises it at $130,000. Okay, they give us 75% LTV, loan to value, because the lender even wants to make sure that we have equity still in the house. So we're into the house for 100. The house is worth 130. They maybe cut us a loan for 105 or 110. We get all our money back plus 5,000 plus or plus 10,000. But we could still sell that house for near 130,000. So in essence, we've used other people's money. We get all of our money back. We have the bank's money in the property now. We might even get a little cherry on top, an extra 5 or 10,000 back in our pocket. And we still have an asset that's 100%, the debt is 100% secured by an asset that's valued higher than the debt. That's why I don't really have an issue with that. Now, I have people call me and say, Rhett, I want to buy a Section 8 rental property. And I tell my clients, on average, we need between $20,000 and $30,000 to do this. And if you think you can do this with less than $20,000 or less than $15,000, I mean, you can't. It doesn't matter. I don't care what people are telling you. If you are going to get financing to do this, you need at least 15% down. On average, 85% of the time, lenders are requiring 20%. But even in the instance that you need 15% down, and you have between $12,000 and $18,000, it's going to be too tight. You buy a house in that instance, if you only have that much money, you need something turnkey because you can't afford to cut a check for a rehab. So you take the majority of that money, you have to buy something that's more expensive because you have less cash, and now that cash has to go towards a down payment. So when you put that money towards a down payment, you also have to pay closing costs. And if you're putting under 20% on a property, your mortgage is now going to be higher, not only because you're buying something that's more expensive, so your loan is bigger, but if you're under 20%, you're paying PMI. So you're basically paying insurance every single month to the bank in hopes that you don't foreclose. You're insuring the loan against foreclosure. That's what PMI is. So basically, we are putting ourselves in a position that we are over-levered. And over-leverage is what will kill you in real estate. And when I look at big real estate deals and I'm looking at big developments, it's all about the debt costs. So if the debt is too expensive and the property doesn't cash flow, the deal doesn't work. On that level, if you make a miscalculation and you take on an exorbitant amount of debt, but your cash flow is going to be crazy high, it works, right? But if you're taking on a lot of debt and your cash flow isn't going to be high, you're going to lose money and you're going to risk blowing up something with a lot of zeros on it. It's the same thing buying a single family home, but that's why I'm more sensitive to it, because for somebody that has a lot of zeros in their bank account that's doing development deals and big projects, you can get totally wiped out by miscalculating one project. If you don't have all those zeros in your bank account, it's the same thing, because you can still get wiped out doing that single family property if you don't model it right and if you take on too much debt. So when I have people call me and say, Rhett, I don't have the cash, but what I do have is credit cards with 0% APR for 20 months, and I can pull a cash advance off of that credit card. Don't worry about what the interest will go up to. I'll figure it out then, and then take that. I'm worried. That concerns me. I am worried about that. I do want to know where we're going to get that money. One thing that we're not going to do, we're not going to buy things if we can't afford them. And understanding that you cannot create a 50-unit portfolio with 20 grand. You cannot do it. Creative financing, good luck. Good luck. I don't care how many courses you've taken. I don't care what you tell me, what videos you show me, or what people tell you can do. Good luck. Try cold calling every single person on a list that lives in a certain area and tell me how many people agree to your seller finance deal. Have fun calling 100 real estate agents and trying to find 5 people who are interested in doing creative financing. You are not going to do it. And if you can do it, how many deals are going to come up, right? Okay, say you are able to pull a handful of deals together. How many deals fit you? How many deals fit your budget that you like, that you want to add to your portfolio? Okay, now think about the time that's going to elapse in this. Remember, we want this to be passive. We don't want an extremely active process here. 97% or close to it of my clients have jobs or have businesses. They can't be sitting on the phone from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. cold calling people, trying to find sellers who are willing to do seller finance deals. And do creative financing. And creative financing, guys, if you've done it, it's hard. It's hard to do. It's not easy. You have to find the right buyer the right seller at the right time in their life who's willing to do a deal. And then once you do find the seller who is willing to do that, which is not a lot of people, they want their money now, then you have to basically say, okay, what are your terms? And then the terms can't be usurious. And what I mean by that is they can't be bad. You don't want to get into a deal where you're putting $5,000 down, but you're paying 13% interest with a balloon payment after 5 years or after 4 years. By the time you model that out, you realize that you're basically putting $0 towards the principal. You're buying the house at a valuation that's higher than it's worth, and you're paying this person 13 or 12 to 14% for the house that now barely cash flows at 13% interest, and then 5 years down the line or 4 years down the line, whenever the balloon payment is, you're paying an amount of money, but because the interest is so high, you barely paid any principal over that time period. So my point is, even if you do find the right seller and you find the perfect seller, you find the perfect house that fits your portfolio that you want, even if it's a great deal, which it's not going to be, I promise, even if it's a good deal and you like it, okay, you did it. You signed the papers, the house is yours. Please, I hope you brought in the right attorneys and you brought in people around you that understand how to do seller financing, how to do the paperwork correctly, and what to do with the title and who's servicing the mortgage and all that stuff that goes into that as well. Now that you did it, okay, congratulations. Now do that 20 more times to build a 20 unit portfolio. And that's going to take significant amount of time. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying that at all. If you have a team of people that work around you that are constantly cold calling and you're getting incredible leads for seller finance deals, and all of these deals are in the market that you want to grow because your team is there, then you might be able to do it. But odds are you don't have a team around you. You don't have the team in that market, and you definitely don't have the leads in that market that you're in for seller finance deals. But what else is going against you is time. And when you have the money to buy another property, you need to be able to buy another property. Because if you wait for 8 months and you can't get a deal, that's 8 months that's just gone by where you haven't bought anything. You haven't onboarded anything because you've been trying to save money by onboarding what can be, in some cases, a pipe dream. So understanding that in order to build real estate portfolios, you have to be consistent. You have to have consistent deal flow. Now, we do a lot of stuff on market. We do a lot of stuff off market. But the underlying piece to that is there are deals available when my clients want them. And when my clients want to buy property, they can because those properties are available. So when they want to pull the trigger, they pull the trigger on something. They don't have to wait to find the perfect seller in the perfect market, offering the perfect deal to do that. And that's very important. Now, another piece of this is because the narrative on seller financing and creative financing has gotten so popular, you have so many people, right? You have this huge group of people, all of which who are very, very similar in their financial standing, who are all running towards the same markets. They're calling the same wholesalers. They're calling the same sellers. They're calling the same realtors, and they're all offering similar terms. And what that is doing is it is essentially eliminating so many deals that otherwise you would be able to get, and it's diluting tremendously your inventory that you're going to be able to buy from. So I have seen more in the last 8 months on listings on the MLS. I have seen more realtors in those listings say at the very bottom of a listings description, no seller financing, not interested in creative financing, not interested in seller financing. And the reason is there are so many people calling about seller financing. I'm seeing it in Nashville. I'm seeing it in the markets that my clients invest in. And if you are able to take another couple months to save more money to buy property with a conventional loan, whether it be conventional, commercial, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, private, DSCR, whatever, you're always going to be a better offer than the person who's coming in at seller financing. If you have a $100,000 house, would you rather someone give you $5,000 now and pay you $800 a month for 5 years, and then 5 years down the line, they'll give you your $95,000 remaining balance? Or would you rather someone come to the table with a loan and it's for $100,000 and you can sell your house, and then 30 days later you close on it? So at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that when you want to buy a house, you're doing it the right way. And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of information out there that I really don't like. I want you to be responsible. I want you to understand what you're doing. I want you to understand what leverage is, when to take on leverage, and when it makes sense. The creative financing leverage, it sounds great because it's not a lot of money down, but you're over levered. You put down 5% on a property. You've got 95. I'm using this as if we bought something for $100,000. You put $5,000 down. You have $95,000 in a loan. If the interest rates go up 1.5 points, the value of that property goes from $100,000 down to $92,000 because that's what happens. When rates go up, money gets more expensive, which means mortgages get more expensive, which means buying power goes down, which means property values and prices go down, which is what you've seen over the last 18 to 24 months in the United States. It's why property values are down, because rates are up. So guys, that's what I had for you today. Wanted to just bring you this video. Please, questions and comments, leave them below, and we'll see you next time.